Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one, as you may have guessed from the glassware, we're going to head up to Grimstad in the south of Norway once again, which is home to Nøgne Ø. And this is only my third review from these guys actually, and my first one in over a year if I'm not mistaken. But we do have a really quite special beer to have a look at from these guys today. This is going to be my first review from the Dark Horizon series. This is the Dark Horizon 5th edition. It's an Imperial Stout and it comes in at 16%, so it will be a bit of a beast, and these Dark Horizon beers are always really highly regarded, so I'm really glad that I'm able to try my first one from this series. So a huge thank you of course to Tom Young from Nøgne Ø for sending me this beer. He put a kind of shout out on the Facebook page telling beer reviewers to email him and he would send them a version of this beer to have a taste of, so I'm really glad I was able to try this. The Nøgne Ø beers for me in Sweden are a little bit difficult to come across, so I'm really grateful to him for sending me this one, and I hope he enjoys the review, and I hope the rest of you watching in Norway enjoyed the review as well. I always enjoy reviewing the Norwegian beers because I know you guys have got some pretty good stuff up there. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews I've done from Nøgne Ø before. No doubt I will add more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. The whole channel of course uses a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beer from different countries as well. There is a list for the Norwegian beers in there as well that's got quite a few different things in it that you can check out, and as always please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review, especially if you're watching in Norway. But your support and your input to the channel is always hugely appreciated. It's always great to hear from you guys because you've always got interesting things to say, so don't hesitate to get in touch. But anyway, to tell you a little bit about Nøgne Ø then, so this brewery was founded back in 2002 by Gunnar Vig and Kjetil Jikjøn, and they're based in Grimstad in Norway, which is in Aust-Agder county in the Sørlandet region in the very southern part of the country. But it's actually a little maritime town, and it's split amongst many different little islands called Skjærgård, and has a population of only about 21,000 people. So Nøgne Ø actually means naked isle in Old Danish, and this was chosen from a well-known 19th century poem called Terje Vigen by Henrik Ibsen, who actually worked for a period of time in Grimstad as an apprentice pharmacist. But basically when starting this brewery, Gunnar and Kjetil had been home brewers for quite a long time, and they decided to start brewing on the larger scale, mainly because there was a kind of lack of diversity of beers in Norway at the time. This is a really common story actually for a lot of Scandinavian craft brewers, but apparently 98% of the beers in the country back in the early 2000s were the sort of yellow factory fizz type lagers as they put it. But they actually started off with a capacity of only 300 hectolitres in 2003, and for a number of years they also they relied and existed, if you like, without paid employees. So people were really quite happy to volunteer their time and help the brewery go, and that really took off, and now they are really quite a prominent craft brewer in Norway these days. But nowadays they have quite a diverse staff. They've got Norwegians working there, Swedes, Malaysians, Burmese, Canadians, Americans, and I think there are a few other different nationalities working in there as well. But these guys also kind of boast the title of being able to call themselves Europe's first sake brewery, and apparently these beers are brewed, or these sakes rather, are brewed using the Yamahai method, and they use Grimpu rice from Hokkaido in Japan. I do know from my time, you've probably seen a couple of my sake reviews if you've watched the channel regularly, but that Grimpu rice from Hokkaido is really quite expensive, but it's very, very highly regarded. It's a very good quality rice, and Hokkaido of course is a beautiful region. If you get the chance to go to Japan, Hokkaido is always where I would recommend. But in this sake range that they have, they've got 5 different products, and the symbol that you'll see on those is very similar to the Ö that you'll see on the beers itself, except it has the kanji characters, which is Hadakajima, which means in Japanese of course naked island. So really quite cool. Hopefully I can review some of the Nøgne Ø sakes for you on the channel too, because as I say, I absolutely adore sake. But another interesting point about this brewery was that in 2013 Hansa Bori Bryggerier, one of Norway's biggest breweries actually, bought a 55% share in this company, and ever since then they've really been expanding their capacity and also the exports for the beers as well. These guys are probably the most exported Norwegian craft beer today, so really quite interesting to review another of their beers. All the ones I've tried from them so far have been pretty good, but in the last 3 years I think their beers have really become a bit more kind of widely available. So those of you watching in different countries like Australia, New Zealand and things like that, maybe even Japan and stuff, and Brazil and South America, you guys might be able to find these beers a bit more easily. But if you get the chance to try one of these Dark Horizons, do buy them up, because they are supposed to be pretty awesome, and a lot of the other beer tubers have said the same. So yeah, that's enough about the brewery just now. Let's actually get on to the tasting of this beer itself. If you want to learn more about the brewery, of course, you can check out the brewery website. They've got beer and sake blogs in there, and they tell you all the latest events and all of this sort of thing. They're quite a prolific brewer. They had about 50 or 60 different beers listed on the website the last time I looked. But yeah, let's get on to the tasting section of this video now. So let me just bring up the camera. I'll let you have a little look at this tube. As you can see, this beer came in this really lovely kind of presentation thing. It's almost like the stuff that you get your degrees in when you graduate uni. But there you can see Dark Horizon 5th edition. There's the Nøgne Ø symbol. Tells you on the back there, a half-litre bottle. It's this lovely kind of, don't know if it's stainless steel or aluminium or exactly which metal it is. Looks more like a kind of stainless steel thing than aluminium to me, but very nicely done. And we'll pull this guy out, and there you can see here is the regular bottle. The Nøgne Ø beers, of course, are known for being in these quite tall bottles, but there you can see there's the lovely bottle there. It says on the back here, Dark Horizon 5th edition is the culmination of all our years of producing strong dark ales. It is a symbol of our uncompromising attitude here at Nøgne Ø. We use only the finest malts and carefully ferment this beer slowly by feeding it after some maturation, or feeding it with more fermentables through the process. The result is a brazen and brash, but robust and dangerously smooth. This beer is certain to conquer the world. Enjoy this beer now or store in a cool, dark place. So that's kind of what I did when I got it. But it looks very, very nice, this one. It says, ingredients in this one, malted barley, hops, sugar, coffee, and English ale yeast. So this one should be quite interesting. If they've added coffee to it, that can always give the beer some really nice depth. But there you are, there's a closer look at the label on this one. There's the standard kind of Nøgne Ø bottle cap on this one. I did think for a period they had different colours on them, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I think that is the kind of fairly standard one, just different colours if I'm not mistaken. Batch number of this is 1383, and it was brewed on the 3rd of March 2015. Doesn't have a best by date, so I guess it's 16%, though it's probably going to last for like 10 years or something daft like that. But yeah, really nicely presented beer. So let's get it out and into the glass without further ado. Thank you once again to Tom for sending me this beer. So yeah, as you can see, a nice smoky opening in this one. You can really smell some of the nice chocolatey and boozy characters on this one. See if we can get a bit ahead on this. This is a 0.4 litre glass, by the way, the kind of standard measure for beer in Norway, or I think Scandinavia generally. I think in Denmark it's the same. In Sweden it's 400 millilitres, of course. But really nice glass, this one. Just look at that. Definitely going to keep this guy, of course. But absolutely lovely looking beer. As you can see, it's poured a really dark ebony rosewood colour. I'm getting about a half finger of actually quite a light beigey tan head on this one. I would have expected the head to be a little bit darker, especially when they've added coffee to the brew. But without paying too much attention to the aroma, this beer really does smell quite sweet. There's a little bit of red fruity ester coming off it, but overwhelmingly it smells kind of sweet chocolate, toasted brown sugars and things like that. It smells absolutely lovely, but there's some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, but quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head there. But this beer, as I say, it looks absolutely lovely. So let's have a closer look at the aroma and see how we get on with this one then. Oh yeah, now when you go closer into this beer, you can definitely pick up some of these nice roasted kind of coffee black malts coming out of this beer. They're just underpinning the beer. But when you sugar it up a little bit more, yeah, you start to get the kind of toasted, kind of darker brown sugars in this beer. There's definitely some chocolate in there. It's a sort of dark chocolate, but I can pick up little bits of milky notes. But the sort of toasted brown sugars, the kind of treacle molasses thing, is definitely going on with this beer. You know, it just smells lovely. It smells absolutely delicious, this beer. Really can't say anything more about that. It's just beautiful smelling beer. There's maybe a bit of bready character kind of underpinning this one. I'm picking up a little bit of a kind of woody, nutty note to this beer. You can smell that just underpinning it, but it just smells beautiful, you know. There's a little bit of earthy hop in there, I think, coming out, but there's a lot of nice kind of red fruity esters. You're getting these kind of quite sharp red fruit esters out of this one, raisins, plums, and this kind of thing. It just smells absolutely lovely. So before you try this beer, just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of it, because it really is lovely. There's a bit of licorice character almost coming off this one. It does smell big and boozy, this beer. The caramel in this one, these toasted brown sugars just come out really nicely in this one. Yeah, it really is lovely. So just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma before you try this beer. But let's get stuck into it then. This one is the Dark Horizon 5th edition from Nøgne Ø in Grimstad in Norway. Let's get stuck into this beer. Skål. Yeah, that's an absolute belter of a beer. There's no two doubts about that. This is a cracker. You need to sugar this beer around your mouth though to just let your whole palate adjust to this. There's so much going on in it. You can feel the alcohol warmth in this beer. You can just feel it going down into your chest. But this is lovely. It's a big, syrupy beer, this one. If you get the chance to try this, honestly, just on 2 sips, I can tell you, you need to give this beer a go for yourself. That's lovely. It starts off very, very sweet. So like I said, the beer, it's really a big syrupy mouthfeel you're getting from this one. There's a lot of treacle, kind of molasses sort of thing going on in this one. There's a lot of nice, sweet brown sugars in there. They do come across as quite toasted. As you progress further into the flavour, you can feel the sort of roasted black malts and the coffee element coming out of this beer. The coffee flavours are actually quite smooth, but I can definitely pick up a bit of a kind of roasted black malt bitterness just under the beer, but it's actually covered quite a lot by the sweeter aspects of the flavour. This is lovely. This is awesome, this one. I need to try more. I need to keep an eye for these Dark Horizon beers as they come out, because this is amazing. This is a really, really good beer. But yeah, it's got a... You can pick up the kind of sweet chocolatey notes in the middle of your palate. There's a bit of darker chocolate aspect to it as well. It does have that kind of almost red fruity character that you sometimes get from high cocoa chocolates. But this is absolutely lovely, this beer. In the back corners of the palate, I'm getting a little bit of an earthy hop character. It does have a little bit of bitterness, but as you come further forward, it does just smooth out. And around the front curve of the palate as well, it's just a very smooth, kind of earthy character that's coming out of this beer. I do suspect they used English hops in this beer to get that nice earthiness. But for me, this beer, once your mouth actually adjusts to it, it does cover the boozy side of things really quite well. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on in this beer. I think there's a bit of a kind of woody or nutty character underneath it as well. It's really just top class stuff. You can't say much more about it than that. I'm getting, as you move further into the aftertaste, the roasted malts just start to come out a little bit more. There's a bit of that woody and nutty character just lingering there too, along with a slightly sweeter caramel for me. That woody and nutty flavour that you're getting out of the beer just gives it that little bit more complexity, which is lovely, of course. But there's no doubting that this is a top class beer. Really do like it. The chocolate in this one is coming across quite nicely, and I like how it leans. I've had a couple of imperial stouts before that come across as quite licoricey, but for me this one has the big dark toasty brown sugars, and that flavour for me is what really hits the spot with this beer style. So this one is cracking. So there's a bit of red fruity character to this beer as well. If you just go behind the front curve of your palate, that's where this is going to come out. Yeah, so just behind the front curve of the palate there, you'll feel that little oily bubble come out of the beer, and you've got those lovely red fruity esters. There's some kind of, for me it's a kind of raisin and plum sort of thing. It does have a little bit of a candied red fruit ester as well. I don't think there's kind of dark cherries or anything like that. Sometimes you get the kind of quite noticeable cherry aroma, or cherry flavours rather, but for me this beer definitely comes across as a quite red. It's more of a kind of plum and raisiny sharpness that's coming out of this one, rather than the kind of lighter figs or candied fruit esters, or that quite distinctive cherry note. But this is lovely. As the beer starts to warm up a little bit as well, the chocolatey notes start to come a little bit more to the fore, I think. And the bitterness, just once your palate adjusts to the kind of roasted coffee and And the black malts in this beer, it really is just beautiful. There's not much more you can say about this than that. This is a top class beer. If you get the chance to try this, you really have to have a look at this beer. Beautiful stuff. So in terms of the mouthfeel of this one, as you probably guessed, I'd say this is a full-bodied beer, but it's got a lovely oily mouthfeel to it. It's not really creamy, this one, definitely more of an oily mouthfeel. Carbonation does have a teeny little bit of a prickle. I can actually see little bubbles just popping up towards the top of this beer as I'm sitting here reviewing it for you. But the carbonation really is just very soft on this one. It's got a big malty sweetness to the beer. Like I said, it starts off very sweet and very syrupy, and as you progress into the aftertaste, you get more of the kind of roasty, bitter aspects of the beer. That's the coffee and the black malts in this beer, but overall it really is more of a sweet imperial stout, this one, than anything else, but it leans, as I said, towards these lovely big kind of sweet oily brown sugars in this one. The hops are very smooth, but there's a good little bit of juicy red fruit ester to this beer. But you know, you can't really say much more for this beer than it is kind of top class stuff. As I said, my very first taste of the Dark Horizon, but it certainly makes me want to try more of these beers. It really is a pretty damn awesome beer. It's 16% as well. You do get a little bit of alcohol warmth out of this one, but not too much. You wouldn't think, if you tasted this beer blind, you know, you would know it's quite a strong imperial stout, but you wouldn't guess it's a way up at 16%. This beer could easily just feel like it's an 11, 12%, even 10% imperial stout. But overall, it's an absolutely awesome beer. If you get the chance to try this one, I highly recommend that you do. So yeah, the Dark Horizon 5th edition from Nøgne Ø in Grimstad in Norway. This is an absolute beast of a beer. A huge thank you once again to Tom Young from Nøgne Ø for sending me this beer. If you get the chance to try this beer, or any of the other Nøgne Ø ones, or particularly the Dark Horizon series, I would highly recommend that you do. So yeah, thank you once again for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comments section below. Always interested to hear from you guys. Like I said, if you're watching in Norway, do of course give me some more recommendations for Norwegian beers. But like I say, this was a pretty damn awesome beer from Nøgne Ø in Grimstad. If you get the chance to try this beer, give it a go, and hopefully I can review some more of the Dark Horizon beers for you in the fairly near future. So until the next time, it's Landry just now. I hope you enjoyed this beer review, and I will catch you very soon. The Dark Horizon 5th edition from Nøgne Ø in Grimstad in Norway. Skål.